everybody. Thank you guys for checking out Indie Film Cafe Spotlight. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got my co-host here. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing just fine. I'm Paul A. Presenza, otherwise known as the Moo Cow. How's it going, everybody? And I have brought Continuity Monkey along with me, as usual.
As usual. And I have TNA Monkey somewhere, but I don't know where he is right now. He's probably getting some, so good for him. All right. Anyway, we've got our guest today, our special guest, since this is going to be the last episode of the season, but we'll be back in January, I think, for another season. Please welcome Chris Seaver. How are you doing, Chris?
Woohoo!
I'm doing good.
You seem remember, so I've known you for so long. You used to be like one of the first guests on my Independent Corner radio show, I think. I think you were in like the 7th or 8th episode, something like that. Like it was early on when I first started. And but how I actually met you, and we'll talk about that briefly, is I read this little book called Make Your Own Damn Movie. And it had a little thing about your films, and it had a little thing about you. So I had to check it out, and there you go. I had to check it out, and it, like, I think it had your website at the time on it.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I checked out your website or whatever, and I sent you an email, and you hit me up on AIM. That's how long ago it was. It was AIM that you hit me up, but I didn't know who you were. It didn't say like Chris Seaver on AIM. It was something weird. So I was like, who is this person that's adding me? So I asked you, you're like, oh, this is Chris Seaver. And I remember I told you, oh, I just rented your movie on Netflix. And you're like, oh, which one? And I said, Quest for the Egg Salad.
Yay.
And you go, your reaction was the funniest reaction I've ever heard, which was, if you never speak to me again, I'll know why. Like, right? And I watched Quest for the Egg Salad. I loved it. And after then, I had to, like, because back then you could rent, and I think even streaming was about to happen at that time. So you could actually stream a lot of your films back then, if I'm correct, on Netflix.
Again, I mean, I don't know. Because I was never privy to any of that.
Right. You didn't stream any of your own films?
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't have known how to do that shit. No, this was, I would assume it was JR Bookwalter and Tempe Entertainment that handled all that. Like, once I made the movies, it was sort of out of my hands, So, I mean, that's why to this day, my stuff is kind of scattered all over the place, like on weird streaming services.
Yeah.
I never have anything to do with any of that stuff, so.
Like, is that something you're happy with? Like, when you see it, like, at least people are watching them and take.
It depends. Like, I wish some of the like good movies were
like the better ones that you're more happy with.
Stream and people could see them, but like, what do I know? I hate the majority of everything that I do. So.
Ah, boo! That's a shame.
That's just how it is.
Aw.
Is it a part of, like, because you were privy to making them and you weren't happy with the way, like, the production went, or was it just like the total process period of it?
I think it's it's a little bit of everything.
Right.
Well, I imagine you never really get to make a film exactly the way that you think it up, conceptually, because of budgetary reasons or time or whatever, and you kind of put it together the best way that you can. In my opinion, is that you've hit it out of the park more times than not. So
yeah.
I appreciate that, but being the guy who made them, I I don't know. It's not up to me though. Once I make them and they're out there, it's people can like them, people can hate them. I can't say yes or no. You know what I mean? I can't tell you to like it. I can't tell you to not like it.
Well, that's actually...
It's up to the people to watch it. But for me, personally, there's not many that I've made that I'm happy with. So, But that's, I mean, so what?
What are your favorites of the ones you've made?
Uh, Geek War, the Weirdsies, which like nobody has seen.
I've seen it.
I
Well, yeah,
haven't
I
yet.
mean, like people who have come to me and said I want it, and thankfully, because after so many years, I was like, you know what, I just want people to see it, so I put it up on our YouTube page so anybody can see it now. But that I like Terror at Bloodfart Lake.
Yay, we love that.
I like Wet Heat. I like Film Crew. I like Teenage Goes to Camp.
What about Sex Squatch?
Oh, I
Oh,
love Sex Squatch.
woo! My favorite.
Love Sex Squatch. Hate the second one,
Yes.
but man, do I love Sex Squatch.
We saw the second one because you sent me. I think I bought a screen copy of it from you way back when. I don't know, and we
Yeah, it's
watched
garbage.
it, and I mean, it has its moments or whatever. I'll say, like some parts I really like, but overall, I mean, I think a Sex Squatch. If you ever made it like part two, like period, not just because that was versus Teen Ape. If you had just done like
Yeah, it
a
was a big
sequel,
mistake.
which I mean, Teen Ape is a great character. It's just I feel like he's a character of his own. Anytime he's like fighting somebody or something, it's I think it's better when he's by himself. Now, am I correct to think like you didn't really enjoy playing Bone Jack, or did you?
Um, I mean, I like playing him. The thing, just in general, I think for me is I don't like I don't like uh, being in front of the camera only because then I have to say the things that I wrote, and I'm
Ah,
terrible at it.
ah,
Uh, as you know, I write a lot, and I write monologues for all these characters, and um, even though I'm the writer, it didn't really change when I was writing Bonejack. So I had all this crap to say, and I just hated. I was just like, man, why did I write all this stuff?
All right.
So out of everybody, um, I definitely messed up the most while in front of the camera for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was like, man, I don't want to do this. I want to concentrate on everything else but that. so so eventually, I just stopped being in front of the camera.
well, you definitely have some, a group of actors who've been in a lot of your films that have really, really done very well. Um, Josh Schweier's probably my favorite. I love Leo Deschamps. He's my favorite character in the whole Seaververse. And I would love to see, more movies involving Josh Schweier. You're still in contact with him? I know he hasn't been in doing
Yeah,
much.
we're listen, like all these people are my best friends. They're all my best friends.
That's awesome.
And it's really just, not everybody can do things at the same time, and some people can do this project, some people can do that project, because the majority of them are scattered all around the country. It's always like you know it's a crapshoot who we can get for this, who we can get for that. But I mean, as far as relationships go, like all of these people are basically, I mean, they're my family, they're my best friends, so I talk to them all the time. I talk to them all the time, but
That's
we don't
great.
necessarily, I mean, we don't talk about movies, like, which it's not something we talk about unless I say, hey, I want to make a new movie, and then people get interested. But other than that, we just talk about geeky stuff and when we're going to see each other and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
And none of them are actors. Like the only actor in the group is Billy Garbarina, and he barely does stuff anymore.
shame too. I really like him.
But everybody else they were my buddies, and they helped me make the movies.
I know Josh was a fan of yours first, and then he
Uh,
contacted you, and then became part of your
well,
crew.
actually, he was a good chunk of the gang were fans, and then I pulled them into the movies. Andrew
Outstanding.
Baltus. I mean, there's so many of them that were like that. But Josh was this teenager who he would sort of follow us around to at the conventions, and just proclaim his love for what I was doing, and said he would help in any way. And before he was even in the movies, he would like help us at the table, and he'd help us sell and things like that. And then finally I was like, you know what? Do you want to just be in one of these things? And then I just pulled him in.
And was that Ski Wolf? Was that his first one?
His first with us was in 2006, and that was Bonejack Hill.
Okay.
House
For
on
some
Bonejack
reason,
Hill.
I always thought it was Karaoke Kid, but I guess I was wrong in that.
I mean, we did those two back to back,
Okay.
so it might have been Karaoke Kid. I don't know. It was back to back.
Okay.
But Josh started messing around. He started sort of following us around 2004 at conventions. And I was going to pull him into Destruction Kings in 2005, but something happened. And then, so in 2006, in early 2006, we did those two movies back to back, and he did both of them.
That's great.
And then he just hasn't left. So I've known him since he was, 14, 15 years old.
Wow, that's amazing.
And you were able to use like such young people like AJ Stabone and Sean Green,
who were
back in the day.
also 14, 15 years
That's what I'm
old.
saying. Like you've been able to use kids and also make them like just part of your thing. Like actually I really like Ghoulish Chronicles from Bonejack High. I was hoping you would do like I know Bonejack Hill was sort of its own like thing too, but I was hoping and Destruction King sort of had that feel of the kids, trying to solve a mystery thing too. But like I was hoping like there would be another Ghoulish Chronicles from Bonejack High, like two, like
Back then, when we made that, so that was 2005 when we made that. We were gonna do a show. We were gonna do like a series, a Bonejack High series. Obviously, we didn't. But the thing with those guys, with Sean and AJ, is that the older they got, the more they just didn't want to do the stuff anymore. So they just they went off to college and doing their own thing, and now they're adults. So
it's wonderful to still see Josh there doing his thing with you guys, and
yeah.
And Meredith is still with you guys, and all
What
these.
about Jesse Ames?
Jesse, no, she hasn't really been a part of us since 2013. And even a little bit before that, she was kind of done with the whole thing. I mean, we don't even talk anymore.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But it happens sort of like, I guess it happens with doing these films. After a while, people just kind of move on, and it seems like you kind of like, I think you've talked about this before on my show, like back in the day, but you kind of go through like waves in a way of like, like different people coming in and taking over and being a new group.
We did. There were waves of the group, but for the most part, it's stuck the same since 2002. Jesse was a bummer, really. Because she was part of the family. But I don't force people to do this stuff. They don't want to do it, then they don't do it, and they just go, and shit happens.
Exactly. So let's talk about the beginning of your career period. When you were just a kid, just a little lad making little movies in your backyard. Were you ever thinking like they would go as far as they did, or were you just having fun enjoying them?
No, I didn't. I was just having fun. I knew that I wanted to make movies, but I think I've always known that I was never gonna make I wasn't going to be like a Hollywood guy. I wasn't going to be Hollywood director Chris Seaver. I think I've always known that. And I don't know if that's just me knowing my limitations and lack of talent, or if it's me just being okay with the low budget, no budget status and just doing what I wanted to do. I mean, truth be told, to this day, I think I'm my own saboteur, because I probably could be in a different position than I am right now, but I'm very stubborn, and I have integrity and respect for myself and
Right.
my gang and what I do. And I don't want to change for anybody, and I don't want to, I certainly could go off and make a million shark this and Amityville that and bullshit like that, but that's not me, and that's not what I want to do, and that's probably why nobody still knows who I am.
But those of us who do are huge, huge fanboys. I mean, you definitely hit a niche, and it's a wonderful thing, because I mean, like the folks you brought up, the J.R. Bookwellers of the world, and yourself. I mean, we love the fact that there is independent cinema out there, independent filmmakers who are fulfilling a need that Hollywood and some of the other ones, they just are not really interested in filling. So
Yeah.
it's great that we've got people who are willing to sacrifice and do what they can to make the things that we like, but also to be able to do it on their terms without selling out, without ruining their integrity, and giving us a great product that we can all enjoy. It's wonderful.
I agree. And it's not like I have a lot of integrity.
Yeah.
I'm just, the little integrity that I have, I want to keep, and I want to, I don't want to make, I mean, it's honestly, it's one of the things that like Troma and I butted heads with. They wanted me to make a Troma movie, and I was like, no, I signed this to make a Chris Seaver movie for Troma, and they kept pushing the Troma thing on me, and I'm like, nope. So we all know how that ended up. But it's those types of situations where it's me saying, no, I don't want to do this, because that's not what I am, and that's not what this group is about. If you want a Chris Seaver movie, then we can work. But
exactly. And I like that you mentioned like not doing like the shark whatever, but I hate to say it. I mean, I would love to see Teen 8 battle a shark. I mean, like, like that. I mean, I know that's
Shark
not
Squatch.
Yeah. I mean,
come to me. It's like, that's not what I want to do.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, as a fan of whatever, like all this stuff. I mean, if they can make Snow Shark, they can make, whatever, But
Well,
that's
the
not.
thing. People don't want that. People don't. These indie companies want everything that they think sells, because one thing sold for them, and it like, whoa, it did great, so we got to make 10 more of these.
Right.
So, now give me clown this and clown that, and give me clown, whatever. It's like, that's not for me. It's like that stuff, I don't even find it entertaining to watch. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's like, it is a cash grab. And these people aren't even making that much cash.
Right.
It's this like ridiculous thing that like these companies like get on, and then they can't let go because they think it's the new it thing, and that's not for me. I'm not the new it thing, man. And that's why I'm not anywhere anybody knows who we are.
Well, I still think if you made a Chris Seaver movie, like the movies that you want to make, you could still get it distributed today, like through Wild Eye. I mean,
I don't
they're
want
not
to though.
okay.
Wild Eye, all they do is they say, okay, we'll take it and put it out, and then maybe you'll get like some money if we sell it.
Yeah.
Like bullshit. I've been through that. I've done this for 29 years. I'm just tired of it. Like they don't find value in the filmmaker. They don't find value in what you're doing. They don't find value in the unique voice that you have. They find value in the shitty fucking cover they can put on a DVD and sell at Walmart.
And move
That's
units.
what they find value in. They don't find value in what we're doing.
Exactly.
So, fuck them. You know, like.
So you just rather make your own movies and, you know,
If
put
you
them out
like what
yourself.
I'm doing, then we can talk. You know.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's good. Like that's good that you know who you are. You know what you want. You know, some people it takes them. I mean, it takes them forever to figure that out. You know, I think you've always sort of known that. You
And
know,
is that part of what drove you to going from low budget pictures to Warlock?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it ended up happening in Warlock as well. But the whole idea of switching to Warlock was that I was just tired. I was just very tired. I was tired of doing the same thing, and I was making movies for paychecks, you know, making movies for rent, and it wasn't fun anymore. And the way that I was doing it wasn't fun. And instead of doing another 10 movies during a 2-year, you know, I made a lot of movies very fast, year after year after year, and I just got tired of it. So I felt with Warlock, I was like, you know what? Let's just pick up a camera like we did back in, you know, the late 80s and early 90s when I was doing it. A shitty little camera, bunch of friends, and we just go make crap. Not shot on video, just for fun, and we can all laugh and have a good time, and there's no pressure and no stress. And that's what that was for. But then during that time, I had ideas that were a little more, would lend themselves more to a budget and things like that. So that's why we get things like Sex Squatch and, you know, Family Grindhouse and the Weirdsies and things like that, as opposed to the shot on video stuff, which was, you know, $100, and we were just having a ball, and we were going after the aesthetic of what was being shot on video back in those days, you know, and people were really trying, and people were putting their heart and soul into these movies, but they sucked. But I was renting them. I was the audience for those films. And it made a filmmaker like me who was like, well, I'm doing it in my backyard. If this can get rented in a video store, then so can my shit. And that was the aesthetic and fun that I wanted to go back to. And then, and then it got a little away from us because we started making more of the higher
same
budget stuff.
Yeah. Well, you also did one of my favorite remakes. By the way, Evil Knight is like fantastic of a remake and everything. And I always
I had a lot of fun with that.
I was kind of like thinking about it going, you know what, if Todd asks you to do another one, you know, I think you should, you know, like, because
I won't.
oh,
those ships have sailed, man. Like, I have a great relationship with Todd. It's just I can't make movies the way that I've been making movies. I just can't anymore. I can't do it anymore. You know?
So that brings us to like what, because I know you've been doing a lot with your YouTube channel and everything. Is that what you're more like enjoying doing, like the YouTube and the podcasts and stuff?
I certainly enjoy it. That's why I do it. You know, I'm on nobody's time. It doesn't cost anything. I'm talking about the things that I am passionate about. So that like puts a smile on my face, but it's not, you know, I still have things that I want to do. I will make another movie for sure, but I just can't do it the way that it's been done for the last 29 years.
And there's no point in doing something. I mean, certainly I would think at this point in your career, you would think so. There's no point in doing something that you're not 100% behind. And it's something that you want to do, that burns in you with a passion, and it's not fulfilling some obligation or something else.
Yeah, there's like, you know, 3 or 4 things that I've stayed pretty consistent with as far as what I want to do project-wise next. But it's just they're going to cost money. They're going to cost money. It's going to take more time than I have ever had making a movie. And I just don't know when that's going to be. You know? So.
Would these be stories that are kind of, I guess, new for the Seaververse, or would they be using some characters?
No, they don't. They don't connect to anything. This is, I mean, there's certainly characters in the films, but they don't. It's not like there's no connecting tissue to any of this stuff. Okay. The characters are there because I love writing the characters.
Right.
So, you know, like the character of Deathbone will probably always show up here and there because I love writing Deathbone. You know, in the Warlock world, Lance and Lucas and those types of characters, I love writing for them. So they will probably show up. Andrew Baltus, who plays Skippy, I love writing Skippy. So Skippy will show up again, you know. But like Teen Ape and all that stuff, no, that was long gone, and that was long gone even before we did Teen Ape versus Sex Squatch. That whole Teen Ape versus Sex Squatch thing was a huge mistake. It was a big mistake. And during the making of that movie, we were like, yeah, Teen Ape is done. Like, why did we do this? Like, you know, I wasn't having fun writing the character, and Casey certainly wasn't having fun playing the character. You know, as far as we were concerned, Teen Ape was dead in 2007.
Right. I remember you talking about that, like that you guys were done with Teen Ape, and we didn't.
Teen Ape and Bonejack and all that, like that's, you know, it had a long, good run. You know, and
in fact, I think I remember reading something about didn't you have to like try to find the original Teen Ape mask because it was gone or something, or get it from a fan
had it.
Yeah,
a fan had bought the original stuff, and then the mask, because of years and years, it just was degrading, and this fan had it in like a shadow box, and it was just degrading. So we had to have a new one made. But again, it was just like, this is so dumb. You know?
So you're saying that Teen Ape got an upgrade, like Jason,
for that particular movie, and then he was dead again. And I was like, no,
so stick a fork in Teen Ape, he's done.
Most of those earlier characters I will never write again.
Right.
It was its time. It had its thing, and you know.
And I'm one of those people. I always love that when people bring that stuff back. But I now, like, I understand once you're done with it, you know, you move on. Sure. You go on and do something.
Joke wise and creativity wise, all those characters are just dead to me. You know, I can't. What more can I do with them that I haven't already done with these like one note shitty characters?
Well, like,
yeah, it's like Led Zeppelin saying, "I was so tired of playing Stairway to Heaven in every single goddamn concert. We never want to play the damn song ever again."
Yeah.
Well, also, like, Bonejack, the biggest thing about Bonejack was the Bill Cosby references. And nowadays it'd be a little bit, you know, like it'd be harder to kind of pull that off, I think.
I mean, you know.
Might even be funnier now, actually.
Yeah, I think if anything, Bonejack would be ashamed of himself for loving Bill Cosby, but he would still talk about him. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And have a pudding pop.
But it's just dead. It's just over.
Right.
You know? I have no interest in pursuing any of that shtick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, as far as I can tell, most of your films, if not all of them, definitely have a comedic aspect to it. So you're still looking. Sorry.
It's all comedy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, that's still kind of what you're going for, even with the
Oh
new
yeah,
material that you want to do.
yeah. Everything. I mean, yeah. I'm never not gonna do comedy. I can't do anything else.
Well, you mentioned all your other, like your favorite films, and most of them seem to be your straight comedies. You look at Geek War, that was a straight comedy. The Weirdsies was a comedy. Even Film Crew had a teeny tiny bit of like horror, but it was mainly comedy.
Yeah, they're all comedy, really. It's that's where my strength is. Creating characters and writing dialogue that's silly and stupid and absurd. The horror thing is just because I love horror as well. Uh, it's mixing those themes just was normal to me. Uh, you know.
And if anything, to me, comedy is much harder to actually pull off successfully because, like I was telling Moody earlier, I said, what's funny to me and what's funny to you is not necessarily funny to other people or to, networks or other people who are bankrolling you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
I know. I know.
Yeah. So doing a comedy, like doing that, and some people might not get it. I know when you were doing like Karaoke Kid, I think the plan was basically to try to sell that, right? Like originally.
The original plan was, yeah, not the movie. The movie
idea.
that we made was like instead
proof
of
of
doing
concept.
a test, let's just do a low budget version of what the script is. And that's what that was. We knew we weren't selling that. We weren't trying to sell that.
Right. You were trying to sell the idea, basically.
So it's like a proof of concept.
The idea, the whole, there was a whole thing. There was a whole and that just fell apart. But I mean, that's just one of several times shit fell apart. But what do you do? I there's a Seaver curse, and it's plagued me and my films all the way through. So that's why I'm still here today, and nobody knows us. So.
Hey, we try and fly the Seaver flag whenever possible.
I'm not saying we don't have fans, and I appreciate the fans, and I love the fans, but I'm saying how come we're not on Comedy Central or Adult Swim, and then some of these other things are? That's what I'm saying.
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And how Paul and I actually met was we were at a screening for a film, and we had the same mutual friend who invited us, so we were sitting in the same general area, and we met. And one of the first things we were talking about was our love for indie horror. And all of a sudden he started naming your movies and stuff. And I was in Virginia, and I was just like, I didn't even know anybody else in Virginia except for me really knew who you were. I mean, I know there's probably a lot of others, but I hadn't met anybody, or whatever. There's, though I'm starting to think that maybe we should get a Chris Seaver, club going down in Virginia.
Seriously.
Hey,
everybody I show Chris Seaver movies to love them.
Yeah.
Okay, every single one. So there's an audience there.
Well, I mean, and you definitely gotta show the right ones. I mean, there are certain movies that I think are just a little much, but that's the point of them. That's the love of them. One of my favorites, and probably always will be, and I might need to get another copy if you have it, Chris, sometime. But Scrotal Vengeance is one of my favorites. So I know, you're looking at that what? But it's just so redonkulous. I just enjoy it. I don't know. I'm one of those weird guys that likes those kind of weird movies or whatever. But I've probably told you that a million times anyway. So you're probably still shocked, And my favorite Anal Paprika movie is Part 3, which I think a lot of people have said different things. Some people love that one, and some people don't love it as much. But it's my favorite.
Not a lot of people have seen it. If they have the double feature DVD, then they've seen it. Otherwise, they haven't seen it.
Right.
Those movies aren't wide releases. That's just the stuff that we put out. for us at conventions mostly, you know.
Yeah, because you
But then
got
there's some stuff out there in the world that I wish wasn't out there, you know.
Can you name a couple, or do you not want to name
I mean,
them?
well, like most of them.
It's gracious.
Most of them, you know. It boggles my mind that like the movie that we all as a collective group love the most, the Weirdsies, uh, nobody wanted, you know. So nobody's seen it.
Well, I'm sure there's somebody
And it's already, you know, 6 years old, almost 6 years old.
Well, I mean, I guess if you keep trying, maybe you'll find somebody. But if not,
I mean, that's
you
why
know,
it's up on YouTube. If people want to see it, they can see it. You know.
yeah. Well, that's good though. Have you seen it yet, Paul? Or
I have not. I definitely want to. There's just this massive list of movies that I have to get to.
yeah,
I've seen most of Chris Seaver's films, but I have not seen them all. But even you, I know I showed you a few that you hadn't seen
that's
before.
true. I didn't own the evil. Was it Inbred?
Evil Dead Inbred Rednecks, right?
Oh my God!
It was still fun.
Well, that
And
that you
then
can tell we didn't give a shit. We did not want to do that at all. That was one of those times where like, you know, they were like, oh, the redneck horror is huge for us, so we want you to make all these movies, and I was like, fuck that. And so we make fun of the movie while we're making it.
Right.
sure.
You know, the character of Griselda is basically to say, this is so fucking stupid. Why? What is this? Like, and we didn't. I spent no time writing it. We shot it in like half a day. We were like, fuck this. You know,
Yeah.
let's make
But-
it.
But what about something like I Spit You on Your Grave? I mean, it seems like you definitely made some stylistic choices and some other choices that you know wasn't just fucking around, that you guys were trying to really make something, and I thought it worked great.
That one, we knew that we were making fun of I Spit on Your Grave, and we went out to, you know, do a shitty, cheesy homage, and we knew what we were doing with that one. But the other stuff that they just kept pushing, it was
Well,
like, no, like the Close Encounters of the fucking redneck kind, like we hated that. In fact, we didn't even finish it. It was like, I can't do this anymore. And it was Ron who finished it. Ron Bonk who finished it and put it out. That movie was like years old by the time he because he just kept like, there's something here. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's fucking garbage. It's so stupid.
yeah.
This redneck thing, I just don't get it. No, it's just not funny to me. So
I think that's another reason why I never really wanted to watch those things, you know, and stuff, because I'm not a big fan of redneck humor, you know, I don't find it funny. But we did it. I think we reviewed it. I'm pretty sure you saw that, but I think we reviewed it for, you know, Indie Film Cafe when we were first starting. And because it was one of the first ones that, that Paul had showed me that I hadn't seen yet. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'd love to see something I haven't seen. I'm not gonna lie.
own a lot of those. I don't own those.
I know you talked about Phantom of the Grindhouse. I'm not a huge fan of that one. I don't know why. It wasn't like, I don't know, maybe it was the thing. It just wasn't mine, but I love, and we reviewed for Indie Film Cafe, we reviewed Ski Wolf, and I absolutely adore that movie.
Yeah, Ski Wolf was fun.
Yeah. So it's one of those films that I actually show people or whatever, because it's so goofy and so raunchy, but like, I mean, it's like kind of the perfect like one to like introduce somebody to a Seaver film, in my opinion, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, Ski Wolf was fun. I didn't like making it, and I hated it when I was editing it. It wasn't until like I saw it later with an audience that I kind of appreciated it more. You know, we always joke about doing more Ski Wolf movies.
You should.
Surf Wolf.
Surf Wolf.
Things like that.
Dude, oh my God.
Yes.
Is Casey a good surfer? Would he
No.
be able to? So that would be even.
No, it's just putting that scenario into any other,
Right. So anybody could play that,
whatever
but like,
wolf, porn wolf, like anything like that.
right, exactly. Well, I'm looking forward to that one too.
But we're never
Um,
we're not gonna do it.
So what happened to the sex squatch suit?
Those I mean, they just got thrown away after we did
Oh my God, you just broke my heart. Thrown
because they got
away.
so gross. They just got like really gross, and there was fake blood and milk on them and all sorts of crap, and it was just like, all right. And Bill's stinking through the suit because he has it on like the whole all through shooting, and
mhm.
we just we tossed it after the first one and got a new one for the second one, and then tossed it after the second one.
But was it the
Gotcha.
same exact suit, I guess, that you guys got?
We just bought that same suit again.
Yeah. Is there ever a potential third one or no?
No.
You're just done. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's mined all that kind of stuff from before, and I feel you. I mean, you just kind of got to move on and do other things, and that's perfectly cool. And it's great. I mean, you still have plenty of people who are dying to see a Chris Seaver movie, no matter what you decide you want to do. We're all pretty excited about it. It's just like you said, waiting for a period when you have the money where you think you can do it to the level that you want to be able to do it.
Yeah, and I don't, it's a never-ending. It's just, do I want to do this anymore? It's a struggle, It's like I'm constantly fighting with myself if I even give a shit anymore to do it. And then I have an idea, and then I'm like, oh well, this would be funny, Like I said, I've pretty much settled on 4 things that I've been marinating for like 5 years since the making of the Weirdsies. There's these projects that I've wanted to do, and 2 of them are written. Two of them have been written. It's just these cannot be made without real substantial support behind them. They just can't. And I'm not going to even try doing it. I've done it. I've done it this way for so long. I can't do it anymore. My friends can't do it anymore. It's just, unless we have the time and the money, and I am, this is 100% what I want to do. It's just, there just won't be anything, We like just this past, we were going to do Death of Lantern 3. And it just fell apart like before we even got to do it, and that was just like another sign for me. It was just like, stop doing these like chintzy, nothings that nobody really gives a shit about. Why are you doing it?
Well, Moody and I have talked about on my little fantasy where, somehow we managed to get, Sick Pick Productions to such a point that, we actually have some money. And how awesome, because we would love to also be distributors. And how awesome would it be to say, okay, we're going to take, $500,000 and go to our favorite directors and say, here's $500,000, Chris Seaver. Make whatever movie you want, and we'll distribute it. Or we'll go to Todd Sheets. Todd Sheets, here's $500,000. Make whatever you want, anything. We'll distribute it. We'll split it. Whatever you make is what you make. How awesome would that be?
That'd be amazing.
So sign you up, huh?
Yeah, everyone. I mean, it just doesn't happen that way.
How much of a budget would you need to make the movie like the way you really, really, really want something? Like just have an estimate.
Well, the script that Clint and I wrote that we've, sort of haven't let go of, and we've been hoping to make it at some point in our life, but I doubt it. But, we had a guy do a full budget layout of that script, and I think it was like $1.2 million.
Whoa.
You know, we'll never do it. We'll never have that money.
It's still pretty reasonable by, certainly by Hollywood standards. That's
Oh,
nothing.
sure, I know, but we just don't have the opportunity to do something like that.
Get cracking, Moody. Let's go with Sick Flick.
I mean, seriously, if something were to happen, I've told you, I think, Chris, before, I'd definitely fund your projects if I had the
Yeah, I
means.
mean, listen, over the years, there's been so many fans who have said,
Sure.
"Hey, man,
Yeah.
if I ever get this, if I ever get that, you're getting the proper money to make your movies."
Yeah.
You had a dime for everybody who said that. You probably have the money, right?
I probably would. I probably would.
Well, there
But
you
then there's
go.
another project that we want to do, and that would cost about 25 grand. So it's just stuff that right now I can't see happening. I can't see happening. So
Plus, you're kind of in a different position, obviously, now. I mean, you're a family man now, right? I mean, it's very different doing things now than, say, 20 years ago.
yeah, but I mean, I've had a family since I was my first wife was I was married in 2005, and I had my son in 2007, and I'm remarried. Now my son is 13, so it's like I've been making these movies for years and years while I've been a family man. It's just I can't. Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to I guess I honestly don't feel like it's worth it anymore unless I could have what I need to make these movies. Otherwise, it's just not worth it to me anymore. It's not worth it to my friends, even though I know some of them would still, if I called, they'd come running because they're just amazing, loyal human beings. But it's like, eh.
You've done the no budget, micro budget thing, and it's time to step it up.
Even that would be low budget, but for us, it would be like having millions of dollars to make something.
Right.
Everyone. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, "Man, if you just had a budget, imagine what you guys could do because you do so much now for so little." Like, well, thanks for saying that.
Right. That doesn't help. Doesn't put the actual money in your pocket.
And sometimes it's not even a matter of that. I mean, I can't tell you how many green screen based movies I've seen on Amazon Prime where clearly they're just getting some people, throwing up people behind a green screen and calling that a movie. And they're still being shown on Prime. I mean, it's crap. It's not even fun crap. It's just cheap.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at it, and I mean, we are doing something. We are creating Sick Flick TV for next year, which is our streaming service and everything. We hope to actually get into distribution.
Definitely.
Maybe we'll talk to you sometime about the Weirdsies if we ever get like some money going on with it and everything. We can help you with it, because we would like to get that out there. I absolutely adore that movie. I thought what I really loved about the movie was your camera work, or Clint did the camera work, like, was amazing. And he's basically he was able to get something shot that looked beautiful, and everything, and then and
Clint,
worked well with yours.
Clint shot, well, I mean, Clint's been with us since 2011, and he's pretty much shot everything we've made since then, and each project got better and better. And the best looking Chris Seaver movie is actually Death of Lantern, the remake. That is the best looking thing we've ever done. And it's not the greatest. Again, only people can see it if they go through me. So it's not like a wide release at all. But we all thought the Weirdsies looked amazing, but then Clint stepped it up with Death of Lantern, and that was the last thing we shot. That was 2016, We shot like a short last year for the Stoinky saga, for the Stoinky Blu-ray. We did a Stoink Mare on Halloween Street, and that was a fun, dumb little short. And Billy came to do it with us and to hang out. But we haven't made a movie since 2016. And while Death of Lantern the remake is funny, it's got some moments. It's not very good. But everyone in the group agrees that the Weirdsies is the best thing that we've done collectively. So, and it's a shame that nobody wanted it. And
Well, I guarantee you we will promote it on our show, and we will probably cover it somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Because
we search for like some of the better movies if we can. Like,
yeah.
Well, it got great reviews. The people who saw it got great reviews, the best reviews we've had up to that point, and that was 2015. Like, we had never had better reviews
right.
than for that movie. And then it won the best comedy at the film festival there that it played at, but nobody wanted it. It's.
I think it's
maybe
hard
it's just timing, because you'd figure now in the age of COVID, where all these distributing groups and things are looking for content. Come on, you've got content. You've got content coming at your elbows.
I know.
Well, hopefully somebody will see it, as soon or something. If somebody sees it after like we've reviewed it or whatever, like if it gets tossed around, somebody will come and find it, because that's the thing with the internet is just like, I mean, there's a lot on there, but there's a lot of people who, if one person finds it and shows it, and then all of a sudden it starts getting out there some more, maybe that's what will happen. I would love that.
We're teeny tiny little minnows too, so it's not like we're going to be able to make a giant difference, but you never know.
Yeah.
Hey man, word of mouth helps. Doesn't matter,
Exactly. So I want to talk to you real quick, because we touched on COVID, but have you been going to the horror convention scene like before COVID, obviously?
I was still going.
Yeah, you're still going? Because I thought at one point you had said you were like, I guess you weren't going to that many or something, or you're cutting down on.
We weren't selling.
Okay.
But I was going as a fan.
Oh, okay.
I still go when I can. I've been going to conventions since 1993, and I still love them. So, I'll still go. It's just not selling,
Do you go to buy other people's movies, or, I mean, no,
I don't, I'm not, I always feel bad when people ask me about that stuff, because like, it's not that I'm a snob or anything like that. I just honestly, it takes a lot to like impress me.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something in other indie movies that I can't see anywhere else, and I don't see that. So quite honestly, I just don't get them. I don't, I go to conventions to shop at the vendors areas, meet up with people I haven't seen in forever, and it's the atmosphere and all that stuff. But as far as indie filmmakers go, they have to really it's got to do something to catch me,
Fair enough. Let me ask you one.
That's in any genre, that's whether it be comedy, horror or action or anything like that. Like if an indie company has a table, and if it just looks like the same old shit, I just don't care. I'm just like, oh, look, another zombie movie. Great. I haven't really been wowed, so I just don't do it.
Okay, can I ask you one question? And this is, I don't know, maybe it's obvious and I just don't know. Have you ever, say, written a movie or something for somebody else to have them produce, or is that something you just not really interested in doing?
I would rather not. I definitely have been asked. I just feel like, how about just take my stuff?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I'm not that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm good at writing Chris Seaver. You know, I don't know what I would even, and honestly, whatever I would write for somebody would probably turn into a Chris Seaver thing, and it wouldn't be what they wanted. You know, I'm very good at specifically writing the stuff that I know and like. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they would have to say, "Hey, we have some money. Write a Chris Seaver movie," you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe let us go do something with it.
So in other words, Chris Seaver, the writer, and Chris Seaver, the director, pretty much have to be, tied together for this project along with the money.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily even directing, but if I could stay on as writer and it still have my voice
Mm-hmm.
and not be something completely different, I would do that, you know, because it's still my words and it's still the goofiness.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel more strong about the writing than the directing, perhaps?
Oh yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah. I've always said that. Like, I am not a good director at all. No, I am. I'm a I'm good at doing Chris Seaver shtick. You know, the writing is where I shine.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason they kind of work out the way they do is because, one, I've been doing it for so long, and it's a chaotic machine now. Two, I work with all the same people, so they know me, they know what I want, they know my Chris Seaverisms, they know what to give me. So there's not a lot of directing that goes on. And if there is, it's terrible. I mean, you know, you can ask any of them. It's like, at this point, certainly, I'm like, just do it. You know, like, you know what you're supposed to do. You have the character down. Do it. Um, you know,
So what
I'm too much in my head, and I have a hard time communicating. If it's in my head, I'm like, well, it's playing out in my head.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should just, it's on the page, go do it.
So would it be harder for you to say bring in a new actor that you've never worked with before, that or maybe somebody who isn't even familiar with
Well, I mean,
your work?
if you know, that's why you don't see those people in the group. You know,
I think we have seen that before in a few movies. I don't want to mention names or whatever,
yeah.
but there
Listen,
are a few
there's
people.
people who just didn't vibe, and they
Right.
couldn't get down with how I was doing it, and I couldn't get down with how they were doing it, and those people weren't a part of it
Right.
anymore. You know,
It
so that
happens.
certainly happens. It's a weird thing to make a Chris Seaver movie, and especially if it. Luckily, you know, you have people like Debbie Rochon and Trent Haga and people like that
Yay.
who know how to make a low budget movie and know what it's like making a low budget movie, and they come into this world and they are so used to already doing that world that
Mm-hmm.
when they come into us, it's not that different, and yet it is. But they've been able to adapt to a Chris Seaver film, um, which is awesome, and which is why, you know, there's still amazing, great people to this day. But you know, there certainly has been people who it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and they don't. And I can't blame them, because they're coming into a situation that just is so different from other low budget filmmaking.
Exactly.
You know, it's weird making a Chris Seaver movie on all levels. Um, so I don't fault them. It just, you know, it just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
thank Crom for the people who are still here. You know, who still say yes. You know.
So we're pretty much out of time, but I just wanted to ask real quick, what have you been doing lately that we could be watching you on?
The crap from the 80s.
It crept from the 80s. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about that.
It's just a YouTube channel that me and like-minded folk get together and we just talk about our memories growing up in what I consider the best decade of all time.
Yay.
Right.
And that's toys, movies, television, comics, fashion, food, you know, the pop culture of the 80s and how it affected us growing up and how it still affects me personally to this day and everything that I do and who I am. And it's just a thrill to talk about it. I just love talking about it. It makes me very happy. You know, to some people, nostalgia can be a very evil word, but for me, I eat it up like Fruity Pebbles. I love nostalgia. I love it.
Honestly, I don't understand why this is not a series on, Netflix or something. I mean, Kevin Smith can do comic book guys. That kind of nostalgia thing is out there. People do like it. The 80s are still hot. Pitch it as a show, man.
Yeah, pitch it to Netflix. Let's make it happen.
Need a manager, need an agent. Otherwise, it can't happen.
Right. And I really hope something like that does, because you've been in the business for so long.
I ain't getting any younger.
I know. You've been in the business for so long, and you kind of, you have a thing. You know who you are, you know what you do, and you're really good at it. And like you say, Chris Seaver film, people know what a Chris Seaver film is when they hear that name. They know what to expect. They know that it's going to be raunchy, it's going to be goofy, and it's going to be
fun. My God, there's so many films that are out there that are just not fun. Don't people understand anymore? That's why you go to movies, is to have fun. And Chris Seaver brings the fun. It doesn't matter about anything else. They're fun.
Because we're living in a world where everything has to be dark and gritty and mean something, and movies totally have changed.
Right.
And I don't know, the last 10, 15 years, people have something against making fun movies anymore. The 80s are a great example of that. Everyone was making just fun, stupid movies. Just stupid fucking movies. Great example on my fucking walls. People made dumbass fucking movies in the 80s.
And they were great.
Yeah, it's just entertaining. Entertaining. And people have a real turned up nose to that shit nowadays. And,
the corporate takeover of Hollywood, in my opinion, is what is really the thing with that because once they just got rid of a lot of the creative people and the writers and all that, it was all about the bottom line and making money. I mean, it's always been there for a certain extent, but even more so now. And they would rather just try to make the most dimes they can off of whatever thing happens to be popular, and not really care about the quality, or not really care about the end product if people really love it. There's just no fun in it anymore. And I totally understand. And especially if you were saying, as you were going along in your career and things were just not getting fun anymore, well, shit, why bother? I mean, the whole point is to have fun and to share that with everyone else.
Certainly with my movies. It should all be fun. The making of it, the selling of it, the people watching it, they're not going to be for everyone, and that's fine. I put myself out there at a very young age, and I knew I was going to get hate, and I knew I was going to get love.
Right.
I can't control that. You love what I do, you hate what I do. That's irrelevant. It's out there. It's me. I'm the one who is making it. If I'm not having a good time, then fuck it.
Right. Exactly. And I agree, because like 100%, that is the thing with making a low budget movies. If you're not having fun doing it, then other people are going to see that you're not having fun doing it. Now, there are people we watch on our show. We have like a stinkometer where we view like the stinkiest movies. And I don't know if everybody's having fun on a Neil Breen movie or not, but
We're having fun watching it.
we have a fun time watching it regardless. I don't know if you're a fan of Neil Breen or even know who he is, but he's he's like Tommy Wiseau kind of.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, he was Tommy Wiseau before Tommy Wiseau.
Okay.
But he's not as
You
famous.
ever come down to Virginia, man, we will sit you down and have you watch a Neil Breen film, because I would love to see your reaction.
So what have you been watching lately, Chris? Have you been watching anything good?
I mean, I think it's good.
Right?
I mean, this whole weird 2020 thing has been crazy. And I'm kind of a hermit anyway, so not much has changed for me. I'm still watching plenty of movies, still watching plenty of, streaming services. Finally, my job just like called us all back. So we're going back to work finally.
Yay, that's good.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, just lots of Netflix, lots of,
Disney Plus,
Amazon Prime, Hulu. No, we don't have Disney Plus. We got rid of that, but we're gonna get it again for Mandalorian. Because after that first season was over, we were like, okay, click,
And now you're gonna bring it back just for this season again, then click.
Well, the Marvel show is coming. The first one, the WandaVision. So we'll keep it for that, but then we'll click when those are over, and then when the new ones come on, because, I mean, it's fine.
It's just too many streaming services, honestly.
We do. I mean, yeah, we have pretty much most of them, and there's something good on all of them.
Right.
Well, if you're looking for something interesting, we hope you'll give Indie Film Cafe a try. We'd love to hear what you have to say about our humble little podcast. We are just about to close up season 3 and then jump right into season 4. But we also have other stuff going on. I have a Forgotten Horror Classics podcast that's going on. I have a new one with Rebecca Reinhardt called Sexploitation Sleazecast, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. Mr. Moody has like 10 podcasts that he's currently juggling. So we are trying to offer a lot of content, not only just because this is the stuff that we love to do too, but as Jonathan pointed out before, we're trying to get together a channel of our own to be able to put out, lots and lots of content. And we would love to hear what you had to say about some of what we're doing if you get the chance.
Yeah,
definitely, man. And I think at one point we actually did for one of our episodes, because I think Casey had a thing where he asked us to promote was it the towel don't forget your towel or something, or what is it?
Website?
Yeah, his website.
He also has a podcast.
Yeah, his podcast. So he had like a little 30-second like radio spot.
Okay.
And he had us put it on there. I think I was supposed to give him one of ours, and we never made one. So it's just like, we'll just do yours. No, I mean we'll just promote your guys' stuff, because you guys have got probably a bigger audience right now with your fan base. So to help you out a little bit more,
Sure, and even some of the movies that we talk about and make fun of and make jokes on and everything like that, it's still done with love, and we always make sure to share. This is where you can buy the film. This is where you can get it from the original people who made it. We try to promote it. We try to share it. And at least on my perspective, I really try to find the smaller, more indie people who've made these things and try to promote them so that people can see them, because that's just the biggest crime is people who make these wonderful independent films and they just kind of fade away to obscurity. That's just wrong. It's just terrible. It's a sin. So I like to promote them. I like to show them to people. I like to talk about them. I like to make sure that people see that there is life outside the box of Hollywood, that there are people making their own movies that are different than what's out there, and different is definitely better, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people who, when they hear low budget movies, they think of, not low budget movies. They think of, $5 million films and shit like that.
Are you talking about like Blumhouse style or something?
I mean, there's just people in the world who have no idea that the stuff that real independent, no budget filmmakers are out there doing.
Sure.
It's not even something that even exists to them.
Just off the top of my head, we did Polymorph. We did Hey Stop Stabbing Me. We've done a couple of really what people would consider low budget independent films that nobody ever really heard of.
Making in their backyard,
Yeah, and we are promoting them because not only are they indie, but it was great. They were fun. They were good pictures. And even though they were low budget, that didn't matter. It's the attitude, how it's done, and certainly the ideas and talent behind it. I mean, and the heart. A lot of movies just have heart. They may not have money, but they've got heart, and that counts for an awful lot. Especially when you look at a lot of these just soulless, movies that are crapped out of Hollywood that are just paper, or cookie cutter films. I don't know. I'd rather go with an indie than a Hollywood film 9 times out of 10.
But that's one of the reasons why I don't like a lot of the micro budget stuff I'm seeing, though, honestly, is because even that is cookie cutter and it's the same shit over and over and over and over again.
Another zombie movie, like you said earlier.
There isn't a unique voice. And I want somebody to stand out and grab me in some way, not just the generic fucking slasher this, clown that, shark that, zombie that. Like, it is literally the same over and over and over and over again. And there's nothing new being said. So it's tough for me, man, to enjoy some of these.
Well, listen to our show, because we try to find them, we try to promote them.
We found like the first 2 episodes that we had on Indie Film Cafe. The first one was Prehistoric Bimbos in Armageddon City by Todd Sheets. The second one was Suburban Sasquatch. I mean,
Dave Wiscovich.
Yeah. Then we did Ski Wolf. So we tried, to kind of like give people like the micro budget stuff that like you look at those things and you're like, this is just redonkulous.
Right, because everyone was doing The Room and everybody was doing Birdemic.
We did Birdemic, but
yeah, we're going to cover it too. But at the same time, we want to shine the light on films that have not seen a lot of publicity, and because they deserve it one way or another, they'll deserve it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we rate them, but when we rate the movies, and if it rates like a 10, we still love it. Like we especially if it gets a 10, I think like that usually means we actually really did enjoy it. Even though
it's certain exceptions for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's certain things, they have to be like, like Acting Maximus. That's a hard one.
Or Barn of the Blood Llama, that really tortured you.
Yeah, and see, you probably never seen either of those movies, Chris, have you? Never heard of any of these films, and that's so funny to me because you're so
indie.
You're so into the you're so like you're part of the thing, and it's kind of like I don't know, it feels so funny to like know that there are a lot of movies that like everybody hasn't seen, or whatever.
And I'm just one of those wacky collector people. I've been collecting films from the very first time VHS came out in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, all the way up to now with digital stuff, DVDs, Blu-rays, and everything in between. And that's what I do. This is what I do in my life. And I just have thousands and thousands, and I love to share the best ones.
Yeah. Well,
great.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, because like I can't show you right now, but I have a whole like 2 columns worth of your films that's over here, in my like collection here.
You were
And
definitely in the indie movie firmament as far as Indie Film Cafe goes. So it was an actual real joy to have you come on the show, and we can't thank you enough.
yeah, I mean, that was the point of Indie Film Cafe Spotlight generally, is to find filmmakers that we've have wanted to interview, that have been part of, like, you generally part of this thing. I think I've only interviewed like one or two people that actually haven't been in a movie that we directed. But it was really cool. I got to interview Sheldon Lettich, which I'm sure you're familiar with. For real, you don't know the director of Lionheart, and I think it was Lionheart. So I know you did. I know you did Double Impact. Did a lot of the old school Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
I like Van Damme, but I don't know these directors.
Yeah, for real. That's funny. I would have, for some reason, I would have assumed you would. For some reason, I don't know, but it's fun to like actually, he had done Only This Strong, which was like one of my favorite films, or whatever. So it's great to have you here to be able to chat with us about this stuff and find out more about you a little bit.
And you know what? We're always looking for an interesting co-host. If you want to come on our show and watch a movie and talk about it, we would absolutely love that.
Maybe.
Guest, at least, to kind of like get you on here and talk to you. I mean, we do it through Zoom, so that's not like you gotta come out here or come out. Well, I'm in California and he's in Virginia. So.
Right. So all I got to do is send you the digital or send you the link, and boom, you got it. You watch it on your own time, and then we just set up a date, and then we all get on there and we say, "What the hell was that?"
Hey, man, you never know.
Never know.
Never know.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sorry I couldn't have been more, joyful.
No.
No, that's okay. It is what it is.
Oh no, we love that you're brutally honest, and we feel like, especially with yourself, you need to be that way, because you're true to who you are.
And we try to approach our show the same way. I mean, it happens. Sometimes you end up stepping on toes for folks, but you got to stay true to what you think. You got to keep your integrity. This is how I feel. This is what I'm going to say, and I don't say, "Oh, this sucks." I usually back it up with reasons and examples, or if there's something that I really, really like, it's because it's true. I'm not an obsequious toady for anybody. If I like someone, it's because they really, really got to me, and I really, really like it.
Right.
That's
and
good.
I think that's the way that you should be yourself, Chris. Anyway, is be true to who you are, so that when people, because you actually said earlier that if somebody doesn't like my movie, I understand that, and you don't care,
What am I gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, just going and keep making your movies the way you
Right.
want to make them, and much respect, my friend.
Yeah. But there is before you let me go, there is a documentary being made about me and LBP
Nice.
and Warlock. A filmmaker from Seattle came to me in late 2018, and it took me a couple months to agree, because I just was like, why do you want to do this? Like, it takes me a while to trust people, and we've had 3 other people come to us and offer to do documentaries about what we're doing, and all 3 failed. So I was very iffy on the whole thing. I also am very like, why do you want to tell this story? What, I don't understand why is this worth something to you? But through getting to know him, and his wife and everything, and I ended up saying yes. And so for about a year, he did this documentary. He went all over the country and got everybody in the gang. He got other filmmakers, other distributors. He got fans. He got other actors who know of my work. I don't know everything because this was his thing, and we just agreed and we signed papers and everything. And but there is a documentary being made about this whole thing.
Outstanding. I love it.
And I think he's doing like a film festival run with it
Nice.
at some point. I don't know. But I did want to tell you guys and fans that,
Awesome.
people who like me and like the movies, there is this thing coming that I am so intrigued about. So intrigued.
Right.
Yay.
Well, that's great, and I hope that I can't wait to see all the different people, like you said, some of the filmmakers that probably know you, and
I don't even know all of who he's got.
I'll be honest, I'm not surprised. It's becoming kind of a thing now.
yeah,
Where these indie films are now, being loved again, which is great. But now people are interested. Look at the Disaster Artist, or the one I just bought and enjoyed immensely. It's called the Creep Behind the Camera, which was all about the making of the 1964 Creeping Terror film. And would never know that there's this whole long involved story behind it. But then when you watch it, you're like, wow, this is great. So yeah, this is a perfect time for this.
This guy, he went to my hometown. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see it myself. I'm really intrigued. I'm a little nervous, but I really believe that he's a good guy, and he's very talented, and he sold me on his pitch, and it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be very weird.
well, that's good. No, I can't wait. Like I said, to see all the people that he picks, but also to see what they got to say about LBP and all that stuff that you've been doing for so long. I mean, I've been a fan since 2004, I want to say. I think that was when I started, I know Quest for the Exile came out like 2002 or 3, something like that.
2002, we shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I watched it, and, ever since then, so I've been a huge fan of yours. I bought a ton of your movies. I still, if things start working out and I'm able to get a job again out here, I will definitely buy more of your films from you.
Whole pesky job thing and money and all that.
We do hall videos, so when we do our haul video, if I ever get some of your movies, I'll be sharing them, telling people to go buy them from you. You're still selling them, right? You're still selling your
when people come to me, every now and again I'll put them up. And I stopped selling a lot of them. Like a lot of the DVDs we're done with. I personally am not making any more DVDs.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna do my Blu-rays that I have, and we're making Blu-rays out of some of the older movies.
Please let there be a Sex Squatch Blu-ray.
Oh, there is a Sex Squatch Blu-ray. There already is. It has both 1 and 2 on it.
Yes.
You gotta buy it.
With tons of special features.
Yes, please. Is that on your website now?
There's no. You just come to me. We don't have a website.
Okay.
I just, I don't want to.
My money.
I hate that. I don't like. So I've never been in business, and certainly now it's like, if fans come out of the woodwork and are just like, hey, I just saw this, or I just saw this, or I want to fill in my gaps. What do you have? Then I do it. Then I say, okay, well, it's this much, and
I do gotta start upgrading all the films to Blu-ray and Blu-ray anyway. I think the only Blu-ray I have right now is Evil Night of yours, so I gotta start.
All right, so I'll have to get your email address from Moody then, because I definitely want to get some stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yes!
Nice. There's a Sex Watch.
I can't tell you how much pleasure that movie gives me. It's just one of my absolute favorites. I show it to just about everyone.
That's great. It's one I actually like.
Yay!
We have planned to do that at some point. Do Sex Squatch as part of Indie Film Cafe. Maybe it'll be season 4. I don't know.
I think so. I think if Rebecca Reinhardt hasn't seen it, she will.
Okay, so there you go. And she's a huge fan of your Warlock stuff. She was supposed to be on this this video cast as well, but unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it. But
yeah, I watch her videos. She did get a hold of me and talk about the Death of Lantern stuff. And,
oh, that's sweet.
yeah.
Yeah, Death of Lantern's fun. I really like that, and I love Happy Holidays and.
Yeah, those were so much fun to make because they were just so like. Who cares?
Let's just go make a movie, you know. And I felt that way too when I was on a set. I had a really terrible time making this short film that I did, right? And I was almost gonna quit. Like I was just like, I don't want to produce, I don't want to direct, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to quit. And then I was on a set for Robert Elkins' short film that he did called Nightmare on Bunnyman Bridge, and I had such a fun time. Like it was so goofy and was so silly, and I got to work with the guy from Spaceballs who played Major Asshole, and I had such a fun freaking time, you know. And I was like,
and you got to have a big afro.
I got to have a big afro, and it was just fun again. And like, yeah, I'm trying to work again with James Balsamo, and his stuff is just so silly and goofy, and you know, I mean, it's somebody's taste, you know, or whatever, you know, but that's the thing, like, you know, like you watch those movies and, you know, but I had a fun time working on his movie before Bite School. I mean, it just depends, you know, if you ever want me out there for a movie, Chris, I'll come out. And
same here.
You know, I'm sure you don't need us, but what?
We never have any money.
No, you don't have to pay us.
Do you know how many times Sean Phillips says, "Hey, I would love to work again, Chris. I'd love to make another movie with you." I'm like, "Well, fly yourself out here, Sean." No.
You know? I got a car. I can drive.
Well, thank you, Chris, so much. We will definitely be back in touch with you soon and everything. And like I said, at some point I do want to start upgrading my my movies to Blu-ray anyway, or whatever, so we can start talking about that, you know, and stuff. I'm excited because I love just helping out indie filmmakers. I've always have, and that's why we do this podcast. This is why we do what we're doing, you know, with you, just promoting yourself, you know.
Good, man. Much appreciated.
Oh yeah, thanks again very much for coming on the show, and hopefully we'll get to do it again sometime.
Yeah, just get a hold of me.
Babu. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Okay, have a good one.